My people, let's talk real quick. I bring up the idea, and it's not even an idea, it's something that should happen, okay? Look at our history. Everything that has been built upon our history has been built off of references. References, right? Everything is linked to a reference. How people are treated are linked to a reference. Like if you're teaching someone or you're instilling something new in society, or you're instilling something new at your job, or you're instilling something new in your country, you got to have a form of reference to reference back to that, to teach them. You know what I'm saying? To teach them. I bring up the U.S. Constitution, right? I bring it up for a reason, because this country was built off the idea of the U.S. Constitution, right? All these laws, all these articles, all these regulations, everything was built from the ideology of that document, of those men coming together and building a new world. A reference, right? Within that reference, okay, initially, anyone outside of a certain group is considered property. You understand what I'm saying? Property, right? Property. The word that I'm telling you is property, all right? If you're not part of that group and you're a woman, women weren't considered as people. They weren't. If you were black, you were a slave. So what does that consider you? Say it with me, everybody. Property. If you was an Asian coming to the United States to do something, you were doing work. You weren't considered a citizen. You were considered property. If you were a Hispanic and you came here, what were you doing? Work. So you were considered what? Property. Do you see the correlation of what I'm telling you? Okay. So as generations go on, yes, there was a bunch of amendments that happened. But you know what's crazy about this whole thing is that we talk about violence. Okay. We talk about violence. We talk about how people shouldn't be violent. Things should be non-violent. But I'm going to tell you something. And this is the God to honest truth. Human beings view ourselves as being at the top of the food chain. When there's change in the world, not just the United States, but change in any other country around the world, what has to happen for that change to emerge? Some sort of violence, a war, a rebellion. That's genocide, right? So how does that make us any different from the silverback gorilla, right? And in their world, in the silverback gorilla world, every time they have a new change of command within the alpha gorilla, they have to fight to get some sort of change, right? What makes us any different than the silverback gorilla? What makes us any different than lions and tigers? If they want something different, they have to fight for it, right? What makes us as human beings any different from any animal in captivity? The only thing that makes us different is that we confine them. Now, I'm gonna tell you something. If you were to open up every zoo, all the gates in the zoos right now, every gate in every city where there's a zoo, you let all those animals out. All of them. Let them all out. Let them roam free in the street. There will definitely be a change in the food chain. So we're no different at all than those animals set in captivity. Now, the reason why I use references, because we as human beings understand the importance of documentation. right? We understand the importance of documentation and having those references, okay? Initially, anything outside of a certain group was considered property and has been treated as such. The only way that a change had to persist is that people had to fight for it. Women had to fight for their rights and still doing it. Black men and women had to fight for their rights and still doing it. Now you have Hispanics out there fighting for their rights and they're still doing it. Because you have a genealogy gene pool of people teaching their kids in their families the initial idea of what was established in the Constitution. Everyone is viewed as property outside of a certain group. So they're going to treat everybody the same. Tribal knowledge. If you know about your job and tribal knowledge, it's the same how this country is run. Tribal knowledge. You have to change the culture. That's the best way to do it. Now, going back to the idea of animals, right? For centuries, we fought to get change. We fought to get land. We fought to get resources. We fought and killed everybody in our path to get what it was that we needed, right? Right? We fought. Where did that get us? Where did all that violence get us? Look at all the chains of events throughout our history where we use violence to get what we want. Temporarily, we got what we want. But does that fix the root of the problem? No. It doesn't fix it. We can go out here and burn up all the buildings down in every city. Is that going to fix the problem? No. We could go to other countries and watch other countries burn down all their cities. Is that going to fix the problem? No. It'll make them feel better, but it ain't going to fix the problem. The root of the problem is us, humans. We think we know everything. But what we need to do is realize our flaws as humans. We need to realize what we're doing to ourselves collectively. The bloodline that runs through our veins. What are we doing collectively to hurt ourselves? Documentation is how we start changing things. You bring the right powers together. We bring the right powers together. Audit what we have documented. Has anyone even audited the federal government? The federal government's out there auditing everyone else. Has the federal government went through and looked at how these cops are trained? Has the federal government went through and looked at their own documentation and bills that are obviously oppressing certain groups of people? See, the government knows what's going on. In their eyes, they know all, but who is checking them? That's the question. Who is checking them? Now back to my point about animals. We ain't no different than silverback gorillas. We ain't no different than lions and tigers. It's all a food chain system. And I bring out the point again. If we were to open all those gates in these zoos and let all these animals free, who would be part of the food chain? And who would be top of the food chain? Because I'm going to tell you something. If a grizzly bear wanted something in your house, he's going to get it. See, animals, they don't use weapons. The only weapons that they use are what's natural on them. So if it comes down to they want that picnic basket in your house, they gonna bust through that door and get it. Who's at the top of the food chain? See, those are things that we're not thinking about. We're not thinking about anything like that. As human beings, we are separated, and we continue to separate us based off of limitations. And the thing that I've been trying to convey, to tell everyone, to let them know that every limitation we put upon ourselves, all it does is make things worse. So the question I ask again, how do we solve that? Collectively, how do we solve that? Do we solve it with violence again? Again and again and again and again and again? Is that how we solve it? What is that going to get us? Temporarily, we're going to feel good. Yeah, we're going to feel good. But guess what? Tomorrow's another day. And the problem's still there. You get what I'm saying? How are we going to fix this? It's going to take a collective effort to fix this. It's going to take a collective effort. The same saying that it takes a village to raise a child. It's going to take villages and upon villages to collectively come together and fix this human problem. This affects everybody. Everybody. And what's funny is if you look at the comparison between the 99% of the population and the 1% of the population that has all the money and supposedly all the power, we as 99%ers overpass everyone else. The way that I look at things is probably totally different than a lot of people. I know some people may look at me and see what I'm saying as somewhat radical. And there's some that sees what I'm saying as the absolute truth. I understand both sides. I look at this situation in a neutral aspect so I can see both sides. I don't bring emotion into what I'm saying. I don't bring emotion into what I'm doing. Because as soon as you bring emotions into trying to direct change and trying to be a catalyst, your thought process is clouded because your emotions are causing you to make decisions. I understand both sides of the story. I understand those that condone the riots. I understand those that don't condone the riots. I understand those that view things as the only way we're going to direct change is through violence. And I understand those that are the exact opposite, that don't want the violence. I understand both sides. I'm in the middle looking at it. And at the same time I'm looking at it above eye level. For us to get through this as human beings, we have to look at the collective issue. And the collective issue is us. We are the problem. So the one thing that we need to do is we need to push these government elected officials to do their job. You guys know that these things are happening. But you got that desk, you got that cush job where you can sit there and be comfortable with your little suit and tie and all that stuff. Man, you know, just chilling. Pass this. You don't understand. The people are losing their confidence in you because they see what's happening every day. And you sitting at that desk talking about what you're going to do. But have you done anything? And you got to understand, This new generation coming up ain't stupid. These kids now that are in school, they ain't stupid. They seeing what's happening. It's everybody. It's not just blacks, it's not just whites, it's not just Native Americans, it's not just Hispanics, it's not just Asians, it's not just Muslims, it's everybody. They are seeing what's happening. They're seeing what's happened to their parents. They seen what happened to their grandparents, their great-grandparents. They see it. They see all the mishaps, all the inhumane acts that's happened to a whole bunch of people outside of being race related. I'm hoping someone from Washington, the DMV where I'm from, I'm hoping someone from DC sees this. I'm hoping someone from DC in the Pentagon, in the White House, wherever y'all hang out at, sees this video and takes heed to what I'm saying. Because right now, you ain't doing your job. The way I look at things, the best way to change things is to kick them out and start all over. Put people in there that'll actually do their jobs, that actually care for the people, don't care about their reputation, that care about the people, that will fight for the people. What do y'all think about that? Hit us up.